Dean, and we have a court reporter, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I thank you for your patience. I know it was set for 9:30. We've been running through the docket. So let me know when everybody's ready to get started, please.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay, court reporter is ready.
All right, if I could please have everybody state their appearance for the record. This is a case management conference. Vivian Dean is the petitioner, so you go first, Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Your Honor. Catherine Rodriguez on behalf of the petitioner, Vivian Dean.
Okay, and I see that Ms. Dean is also on Zoom. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
All right, Mr. Dean, if you could just announce your appearance for yourself then.
Hi, good morning, Judge Avalos. I'm James, and I'm James Dean, and I'm a pro se litigant.
Yes, sir. Okay, good morning. Let me just see who else is, Mr. Grabo, are you here on this case, sir? Or, Mr. Dean, do you recognize Mr. Grabo as somebody who needs to be on this case?
No, ma'am, I have no idea. I've never heard that name before.
All right, Ms. Rodriguez or Ms. Dean, did you call Mr. Grabo on this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So we'll just go ahead and put him in a waiting room. Thank you. All right, so I set this matter for a case management conference because it seems like there's, my judicial assistant said there was some difficulty scheduling things. There's a few pending motions, so I kind of just wanted to have the opportunity to address both of you, see what the pending motions are, and see if we can get kind of a time frame to hear all of the motions that are pending. So again, Ms. Rodriguez, you represent the petitioner, so you go first, and then I'll hear from Mr. Dean. Please tell me what motions you have that need to be heard and how much time you need for your motions.
Your Honor, the motion that is pending on behalf of the wife is a motion, urgent motion for psychological evaluation that was filed June 23rd, 2023. And I believe it will take an hour.
Okay, so you think an hour. How many witnesses?
Your Honor, I believe it would be my client and it would just be exhibits and Mr. Dean.
Okay, so 2 potential witnesses and some documents, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And you believe 1 hour for your presentation, or 1 hour that includes Mr. Dean's opportunity to conduct cross-examination?
Well, Your Honor, I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't know how much time Mr. Dean would have. I would say an hour. I think I could do my presentation in less than an hour.
Okay.
But I don't know how long he would like, and I don't want to be presumptuous.
Okay. Mr. Dean, do you think you're going to have any witnesses for that motion, sir?
That motion's never going to be heard. That's a frivolous motion, and I filed to dismiss it. I have like a dozen motions pending. They're engaged in a series of vexatious litigation, and you can see that if you just look at the docket.
Okay, I'm sorry, and I'll get to your motions in just a moment, Mr. Dean, and maybe there is a motion that goes to this one that'll impact it, but sure. I just wanted to have an idea if you have any witnesses pertaining to this motion, should it go?
Well, this is, again, as she just told you, it was filed June 23rd, 2023, and they labeled this an emergency motion. So the first thing that should happen is that you need to rule whether or not it's an emergency, and that was a year ago. So once that happens, then we can discuss that.
Okay, well, respectfully, I don't think she said emergency. I think she used the word urgent, which puts it in a different category, Mr. Dean.
So then that urgent from a year ago?
Well, and that's something you can certainly address during the hearing.
Okay.
I mean, that's
but
something
she also failed to mention about 6 other motions she filed in advance of that one. They're just trying to move to the most recent filed one because it sounds like something that they can get a leg up in this case.
Well, if they
I have a pending motion for contempt.
1 second, Mr. Dean, just so that I don't forget to tell you this. If she doesn't set her motions, I don't hear them and they don't get ruled on. I mean, I don't go through the docket and start picking what motions somebody wants to get heard. You can file something. If you don't set it, I can't. It's not in front of me. So, all right. So you're
the eighth judge on this case. I filed for all those to be heard many judges ago. Right now, the only thing that I'm really most concerned about today is not these frivolous motions, but I haven't seen my children in over 2 years. And the only thing that really matters right now is to vacate the unlawful stay away order between me and my children. I didn't even have a hearing for that injunction, and the judge who made that order was recused for bias for making that order. And yet
So
five judges later, it's still in place. And I'm
so you're telling me there was an injunction, so there was a domestic violence component of
no
this case, correct? I mean, there's so many
negative. I
entries.
didn't negative. That was issued during an exclusive use and possession of the marital home. And out of nowhere, he took my children from me, that without a hearing, during a different hearing. That's not even legal.
So what
Your
did
Honor, that is not accurate, and I have transcripts of everything, and yes, he is correct. And he's had hearings, 3-hour hearings.
I'm not really sure why she's
Excuse
interjecting
me,
here. It's my turn to talk, and
Your
I'm not
Honor,
really sure why she's involving herself.
Your Honor.
This is what she does this all the time. And
time out, time out.
I'm
I
not.
can't. 1 second, I
Mhm.
cannot. Okay,
Yeah,
so
she just
Ms.
jumped in out of
Rodriguez.
nowhere.
Okay, Mr. Dean, Ms. Rodriguez. I'm sorry, but I can't. I can't have you both talking at the same time, and the court reporter cannot have you all talking at the same time. So this is how we're going to conduct this. Mr. Dean right now has the floor. How much time does he need? I need to know what's pending, what I need to be heard, and how much time I need to set for this. That's
All right.
the
Well,
purpose
we're
of
not
this.
going in order right now.
Mr. Dean, well, I hold on, please. Ms. Rodriguez, please don't interrupt Mr. Dean. I will come back and give you an opportunity to be heard. All right, Mr. Dean, what motions did you file that you need to have heard, sir?
I don't have the exact list in front of me, but I have about a dozen pending motions. The most important is my motion to reconsider all orders in this case, because you're the eighth judge. 7 judges have been recused. We need to go back to the very beginning and evaluate every order issued in this case. That is the most important pending motion I have. Although I'm sorry, go ahead.
When did you file that motion, sir?
I filed that motion after the 6th judge.
Okay, and what is the title of that motion, and what is the date that it was filed?
Husband's motion to reconsider all orders in the case and reevaluate something about taking. It's a very long title, but it was the last motion to reconsider, but it was to reconsider all orders.
I mean, there are over 425 entries in this.
If you don't see that as vexatious litigation, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on the defense. I'm on the defense on all of these. So we need to reevaluate all those orders, because that's through 7 judges. You're the 8th. We cannot just adopt those orders as good orders. Those 7 judges were accused for bias. So I don't need to just file another motion to reconsider, It's common sense. We need to reconsider all orders in this case by 7 judges recused for bias. There is no other course of action. We can't just move forward. What they're trying to do is move forward. That's why they want to do this urgent motion for psychological evaluation. That was the latest filed one.
Mr. Dean, this case has been pending since 2021. It is now May of 2024. I'm not going to go back and reconsider all of the orders, but I am asking you, Mr. Dean, if you could tell me which motions you have pending that you wish for me to entertain.
The motion to reconsider all orders.
Okay, what date was it filed, Mr. Dean?
I don't have it in front of me. I wasn't prepared with all my motions, because there's like 30 motions that are pending.
Okay, well,
I have a motion for temporary relief. I have a right to the same lifestyle I had during my marriage, and I'm living in a house with mold. I don't have money to afford an attorney while she's spending $100,000 a year on an attorney. That's inequitable. I should have an attorney. I have a motion for temporary relief. Hang on, let me complete my record, and then I'll give the floor back to you. I have a motion for.
You're saying all these things, and that you want me to consider something, but I need to have a motion. That's the way it works. So today's case management, because I wanted to hear from both of you so that you can tell me which motions you need to be heard. So I need you to tell me, because I'm not going to go through 400 and something entries to figure out which motion.
To be perfectly honest, I was expecting you to come on this hearing and just start admonishing me like the other judges have done in the past. So I was just ready to sit here and tell you all the unlawful things that have been happening. I wasn't ready with all my motions, but there's like 30. The most important thing is this. I have a motion for temporary relief. so I can have alimony, so that I can afford an attorney, so I can stop having the stress as a 100% service disabled United States Marine to have to lose the amount of sleep I lose to prepare for these cases as a pro se litigant, and for me to play lawyer when I'm not a lawyer, because I'm forced to do this because for 2 years now, I've had a temporary relief motion pending. I have a motion for contempt against my wife pending. She's taken my kids out of the state. She changed the locks. I'm sorry. Yeah, a phone call came in, so it stopped me. So my wife has been taking the kids out of the state. She changed the locks on my house, even though the cops have told her multiple times she couldn't do that. She's made multiple. I have 4 false domestic violence allegations against me. We can't just keep going forward. You got to evaluate what she's doing.
Mr. Dean, I'm going to take a 3-minute break because I need to take a little break because I've been on the bench since 8:45 this morning.
Take your time. Yeah.
And I'm going to give you an opportunity during that time, sir, to please look at the docket and tell me which motions you want to be heard, because
Okay.
I cannot guess what you want to be heard. Ms. Rodriguez, and then I'll give you an opportunity to be heard, ma'am.
Okay, just one quick second. I'm on my phone right now, so I'm gonna just jump off of the Zoom. I'm gonna get those motions on my files on my phone. I'm gonna write them down, and I'm gonna get back on Zoom.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
You can do that if that's how you wish to handle it, sir.
Well, that's what I have to do to get the motions.
Do you have a computer or tablet?
Sadly, I do not.
Okay. All right, just go ahead and do that. I'll.
Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez, just bear with us for a moment. I'm going to take a break as well. Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Dean, did you have an opportunity to go through and determine what motions you want to have heard, sir?
I have a handful of them here, which would be a great start.
I can't hear you.
I have a few of them here, which would be a great start.
All right, we'll give you the dates and the name of the motion, please.
Okay, April 19th. I filed a motion to change venues to West Palm.
I'm sorry, April 19th, what year?
I'm sorry. Good point, because these go back. This one is from this year, April 19th, 2024. This is a motion to change venues to Palm Beach County.
April 19th, 2024. Let me get there. Okay. Okay, I see it. It's entry 423 on the docket. Go ahead.
We have December 30th, 2023. And this is the one. This is the one I was alluding to earlier. It's the reassessment of case direction, post recusal of 6th judge, and persisting injunction from 3rd judge.
All right. There's 2. You said that's motion. That's on December 30th of 2023.
That's correct.
So is it a motion for clarification? Is that what you called it?
No, I called it a motion for reassessment of case direction, post recusal of 6th judge, and persisting injunction from 3rd judge.
I'm sorry, but I don't see that on the docket.
It's from December 30th, 2023.
Yeah, I'm looking at, let me see one more here. No, I see.
It might have been late. It might have been filed under a motion for reconsideration, possibly.
Okay. All right. So motion for reconsideration. It's December 29.
Yeah. So that would be it then.
Okay.
Okay. October 3rd, 2023. Motion for sanctions.
I don't know what dates you're looking at, but they're not corresponding with my docket.
I have the dates that I actually signed. I just went to the bottom and I got its signature, so it could be a day, probably maybe 1 or 2 days off.
What is it called, sir? What is it called?
Motion for sanctions. And also motion for contempt that should be on that same day.
The motion for contempt is there. The motion for sanctions, I don't see. Okay, so that's 3 motions so far, yes, sir?
Correct.
Okay, so how much time do you need for those 3 motions?
Total or each?
Well, what I'm trying to do, Mr. Dean, is get a date where I can hear these motions, okay? Hear your motions, hear Ms. Rodriguez's motions, and kind of move forward with this.
Yeah.
So I need to know.
Well, see, we did this with one of the judges in the past, and if we try to stuff a whole bunch of motions into one document, it's going to become very unfair to a pro se litigant who's trying to keep up here. So we need to break these down and digest these the correct way. I know you have a full docket. I know everybody does. My children deserve the attention this complex case deserves, and so do I. And that's what we need to do.
All right, well, then I'll go ahead and set 2 motions one day and 2 motions on another day. How about that?
That would be fair. I'd appreciate that.
All right. So I'm going to start with Miss.
We definitely can't start with that motion for psychological evaluation. It was the most recent thing filed, and the whole point of that is to poison the well. So let's don't put poison in the water. Let's just draw the fresh water out the bottom.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Dean, but I'm going to hear the motions in the order that the court, in the order that they, I'll look to see the order that they were filed, but also either party has a right to ask for it to be set. So I'm here trying to do that and trying to figure it out. I need to hear these motions to move them along. So I'm going to hear.
We just need to start from the beginning. As long as we start from the first ones filed, that's great.
No, I'm not going to restart this case since 2021, respectfully. No. That's not going to happen. I'll look at whatever motions and I'm not going to go back to day one.
So we'll move right. Let's move right forward. Don't worry about scheduling anything. We'll move right forward to the next things I was going to say, which is that this hearing was not scheduled with the required 5 days notice. I already filed a motion to recuse you last week, which you denied. It's clear that there's a bias in this case. You are friends with the last judge who was recused for bias. She was involved in ex parte communications. So the odds of you and the last judge communicating about this case before today is more likely than probable, far more than that rises to the cause of a fear for an unfair trial. This is an actual unfair trial. This was not reassigned randomly. Rather, the judge, I'm making a full record, please. And the chief judge, Jack Tudor, said he personally randomly reassigned this case to the friend of the last judge. This is not fair, and I will be filing another motion to recuse you today since you're not willing to give this case the attention that it deserves. You said it so yourself, and that's unacceptable. My children deserve better than that. I deserve better than that. The judicial system deserves better than that, and that's not going to happen. We're going to start this case over. 7 judges were recused for bias. You cannot adopt those orders and move forward.
Mr. Dean, I asked you what motions you want to be heard. I gave you the opportunity to tell them to me. I'm trying to schedule them. I'm going to consider what's here. You want to file motions, you do what you need to do. For purposes of now, I'm moving forward with my case management conference because I said it. So this is what's going to happen.
Is there a reason why you didn't file on the motion to change venues before you heard today's case?
I'm not. You did not set it for hearing, sir. That's why we were here.
That's not one that you set for hearing. That's not one that you don't set that for hearing. That is to be ruled on by the Chief Judge Jack Tudor.
Okay. Well, respectfully, your understanding, sir, of how things work and
here we go. Okay, there's no problem. I've heard it. I know I've heard this from 7 other judges, and you're going to find out the same way. I do know how it works, and you're going to be recused.
Okay. All right, so your motion to change venue can be set for hearing, and that's one of the ones I was going to set for hearing. So,
along with a motion for an urgent motion for psychological evaluation from last year.
Along with that one, and along with I was going to start with the October 11, 2023, but you want to start with the change of venue. That's fine.
No, I don't. I want to start with. I was very clear. I want to start with the first ones filed. And I filed for a hearing on each of those. I can't go back in time, and I can't go back to 2 years ago and ask you for a hearing today. I filed for hearings with the respective judges.
What date was your motion for psychological evaluation filed, Ms. Rodriguez?
June 23rd, 23, and I would like to be heard, Your Honor, at some point.
You will. Okay.
Oh, she's been heard plenty. All the judges hear her and not me. I get muted. The judges hear her out completely, and all you're going to hear from her is lies. So let's don't waste our time.
Mr. Dean, So what I'm inclined to do at this point is, your motion was in 2023, the October 11th motion was in 2023, and the December 29th motion was in 2023, which is really what I wanted to do, is just kind of hear them all in an afternoon, take from 1 to 5 and hear these motions, which seems to make sense to the court.
How does that make sense to the court to hear anything before temporary relief? I'm asking for money for lawyers, and you're saying no. Maybe we'll give you money for your lawyers, but not until after your case is heard. How does that make sense to this court? It doesn't. That does not make sense to this court. You're saying that because you have ulterior motives.
That's not one of the motions that you identified, sir. I just
It certainly is.
I highlighted them in the
November 17th, 2022. I told you, November 17th, 2022, motion for temporary relief.
November.
I be heard, Your Honor.
I have December 15th, 2022, motion to compel answers, motion to compel discovery. That's 2 years before.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dean. Yes, Ms. Rodriguez, you may be heard. Go ahead.
Your Honor. When Judge Coleman had the case, he set a full afternoon, including 8 of Mr. Dean's motions.
He was recused for bias.
Okay, Mr. Dean, just like I asked Ms. Rodriguez not to interrupt you, I'm asking you please not to interrupt her. You can disagree, you can feel that what she's saying is not right, but you need to let her speak.
He was recused for bias.
Okay, well, go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez.
Your Honor, there were 8 of Mr. Dean's motions set that day. There were 3 of our motions. We were in the midst of the middle of the hearing, and Judge Coleman was doing precisely what you were doing, attempting to accommodate Mr. Dean, bending over backwards to give him due process considerations in light of the pro se.
Objection. I'm not going to sit here and hear that conjecture and not say it. That's ridiculous. She's speaking on behalf of another judge, and that's absurd.
Your Honor, I was instructed.
Your objection is overruled, and I am again telling, other than objection, there's nothing else for you to be set for you to say, Mr. Dean, until it's your turn to talk. So it's not your turn right now. It's Ms. Rodriguez.
That's what objections are for.
Your Honor,
no speaking objections, sir. Go ahead.
Your Honor, several motions were heard that day. I have a transcript. I would like to submit the transcript to the court so the court can see what motions were heard. There were several orders entered that are on the docket that are dated December 19th, 2022, including an order holding Mr. Dean in criminal contempt. Subsequent to that, Judge Mastriago came onto the case, and once again, Mr. Dean was given priority over my client, and all of his motions, including temporary support, were heard in September of 2023.
Another judge that was accused of bias.
My client had to pay for yet another series of motions accommodating Mr. Dean. That was noticed for September 18th, 2023. The entries you're seeing, Your Honor, are voluminous because of all the exhibits that we file in preparation for these hearings. What is unjust is that my client has to keep paying to go over the same thing over and over again. The order on exclusive use and possession that was granted to my client by Judge Cohen was as a result of a full hearing. The motion asked Mr. Dean to take an anger management class based on an extremely disturbing video presented to the court that day. Mr. Dean refused to comply. His failure to see his children is as a result of his contumacious conduct and a violation of a court order. Your Honor, what I am asking based on the law is a psychological evaluation and a final hearing so my client can move on. The only disservice in this case has been done to my client. The court has bent over backwards for all the judges have bent over backwards for Mr. Dean, exactly like the court is doing the best they can. And Mr. Dean keeps bringing up the same things over and over again. And it's running up the bill for my client, and it's not right. I can send the court the transcripts. You can see what has happened. We want a psych eval. We want a final hearing. And Mr. Dean needs to stop running the docket in this case, and he continually recuses the judge when he doesn't get his way.
Have the parties gone to mediation, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor. 2 years ago, we went to mediation, and we gave a settlement offer. We gave a proposed parenting plan. Mr. Dean rejected it. We've since sent him more settlement offers. Mr. Dean rejects them out of turn. Your Honor,
Okay.
Right. The problem is he keeps filing the same motions over and over again, and he doesn't get his way, or he doesn't like something.
No.
He gets the judges to recuse
Then
themselves.
let me ask another question. Have any of these orders been appealed?
One order denying the recusal.
Objection.
appealed,
You're asking
and
her
the
to speak for me.
court- I'm
Why
speaking.
would you be asking her to speak for me?
Mr. Dean, I'm not asking you to speak for her. I'm asking
You're
you
asking
as a
her to speak for me.
procedural- No, I'm asking her a question from a procedural standpoint. Ms. Rodriguez, have any of these orders been appealed?
Only one order denying disqualification, and the court, the fourth DCA dismissed it. He appealed that.
Okay, but the orders on any type of relief granted by the court in connection with either
Wow.
your request or the court's orders dealing with any type of temporary relief in this case?
Were not appealed, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is submit a copy of the transcript. That will be helpful to the court. If you could just do a notice of filing and submit it to the court.
Wow.
Your Honor, there will be two transcripts, one in front of Judge Coleman and one in front of Judge Mastriaga, when I will submit both.
Okay, all right, so do that. And then I'm going to set, I'm going to go ahead and set the 4 motions for hearing. And I will hear from both sides in so far as those motions are concerned.
You're not
So
hearing from
before-
both sides today. You're just having a conversation about me as if I'm not here with the other party. Why would you handpick 1 or 2 hearings to analyze out of 80 at the discretion of the opposing counsel? Everything that she said was not true. I have filed. Do you know what a motion for reconsideration? Do you know what a motion for reconsideration is? It is appealing the decisions.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dean, I gave you an opportunity to tell me the orders. We took a break. I asked
You didn't even let me finish. You didn't even let me finish reading my
motion.
motions. November 17th, 2022, temporary relief. December 15th, 2022, motion to compel answers. Motion to compel discovery. September 16th, 2023, motion to dismiss their motion for psychological evaluation. You want to have a motion for psychological evaluation without first reviewing my motion to dismiss it? That's a little out of order.
Well, where's the motion to dismiss?
September 16th, 2023, motion to dismiss psychological evaluation.
All right, hold on, sir. You're going way too fast for me, and I need to
Oh,
make
now
sure
I'm
that
going way too fast, but you were willing to just move forward with the other side's whims, at their whim, and everything they're saying is misrepresentations.
Mr. Dean,
This
I'm
is
not
this is
engaging in an argument
this
with
is
you.
egregious behavior.
Okay, Mr.
It's not about
Dean,
arguing. I'm telling you facts. I'm not
tell me
arguing.
the date.
I'm just
Right,
telling you
so
what it is.
Focus on the fact. What is the date of your motion to dismiss, please?
September 16th, 2023.
September 16, 2023. Let me see, make sure I can find it. Motion to dismiss.
Yep. And I have several, so if that's the wrong one, it'll be one of the other dates.
Well, I'm not going to go looking for it for you.
Sure.
That's why I gave you the time, sir. I'm not, I can't.
That's why you
go
gave me
into
3 minutes to find 40 motions. Thanks.
Okay. 386. That's the docket entry. Motion to dismiss. No, that's a motion in limine. So I don't know what that goes to. So your September 16th motion is not the correct motion.
Okay, well, it's still a motion to dismiss. It would have just been one of the other dates because I filed so many motions to dismiss. It's hard to find the exact one. I thought that was it because I was trying to get relative to that date that she said, and I couldn't remember what it was. But it would be somewhere around that date where she said her motion, June 23rd. Yeah, so it would have been maybe into June or early July. But I just wanted to be clear on the record. So you want to hear these other motions before my temporary relief to get to be able to have a lawyer, correct? So you want to hold me hostage as a pro se litigant without access to my assets. Exactly.
Mr. Dean. I cannot find your motion to dismiss.
Yeah, so why don't we do another case management conference? So I'll list all mine and hers. They forgot. Catherine Rodriguez forgot her motion for depositions. What about our depositions? They went through this whole.
I said a case management conference, and respectfully, that's what I'm doing today.
You said it yesterday afternoon. You said it yesterday afternoon at 4 p.m. for today at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Is that lawful?
Well,
Is that lawful?
we're here.
You wanted to tell me about lawful behaviors. Is that lawful? It's not. 5 days is the required. 5 days is the required notice.
If you could please upload an order or a notice of
Yeah,
hearing.
no, go ahead and upload orders because you're gonna get it there anyway. Don't worry about. You're gonna be recused far before them. But go ahead, play your little song and play your whole routine while my kids suffer and they don't have two parents. Keep going.
We're gonna set your motion for psychological evaluation and his motion.
Yeah,
to
set it first.
that, and his motion to dismiss your motion, please. I can't locate it on the docket.
I don't know where it is either, Your Honor.
Oh, but she does know it's there.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, she knows what it is.
I'm going to, Mr. Dean, you're going to have to resend that to the court or identify the docket entry where that was filed.
Happily, I'll resend it to the court.
So you need to so in your order, Ms. Rodriguez, please indicate that Mr. Dean is to provide a copy of the motion to dismiss that corresponds to your motion for psychological evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to set the motion, Mr. Dean's motion to change venue.
And we'll consider temporary relief at some point. What, when I'm in the streets kicking a box down the road? I'm nearly bankrupt and you don't even want to hear it.
In September of 23, Your Honor, by Judge Mastriago, evidence was presented. I would ask for you.
She was recused for bias. That's another judge recused for bias.
And again, I'm being interrupted.
So I'm gonna
because it's a moot point. All these judges have been recused for bias. You have to reconsider all of their orders. That's how it goes.
Rodriguez, I'm going to ask you to set down the motion for reconsideration.
Which one, Your Honor? He files them.
December 29th is the one he referenced, Ms. Rodriguez.
I'm noticing his motion, Your Honor.
Well,
yeah, you've been speaking for me all day. Why stop now?
If you could just add it to the notice of hearing, Ms. Rodriguez, that way there's no confusion as to what's going to be heard.
There's a lot of confusion.
And what I'm going to ask you to do, please, Ms. Rodriguez, is do a notice of filing of the transcripts that you're referring to. And of course, Mr. Dean, if you want to file anything in support of your motions, then I will entertain that as well.
But specifically, you gave her exactly what you wanted to hear, and me, you'll consider maybe. But what about the depositions that they filed a motion for depositions years ago? She didn't mention it. You know why? Because the last thing they want to do is give a deposition. Because you're talking to some of that woman that you're speaking to is very evil, and you should be careful what you're doing just because I'm a pro se litigant. If I'm one thing, I'm an extremely honest human being.
Insult, Your Honor, of Mr. Dean.
You are an evil human being. That's a fact.
And I want
sue me for libel. Sue me for defamation if it's untrue. Sue me for defamation if it's untrue.
Mr. Dean, you need to stop with the personal attacks. And on that note,
it's not an attack. It's a fact.
Mr. Dean, it's not a fact.
It is a fact.
Stop. You represent yourself, and you have the right to do that, sir. However, you do have to abide by professionalism, and you need to abide by that.
Not the same standard as lawyers, because I'm not a lawyer.
Well, but you do, sir, need to treat everybody in this courtroom, including.
Let's not use the word respect. Let's not be 8 judges. Let's not be 8 judges deep and talk about respect, please. 7 judges recused for bias. Do not talk about respect. I hope that's not what you're about to say. I pray that's not what you're about to say. I am the most disrespected human being in your courtroom.
Mr. Dean, I don't know what happened before.
So then evaluate the case in front of you. Okay, evaluate the case. That's not asking for much. My children deserve it. Evaluate the case from the beginning. From the beginning.
Dean,
Don't
okay.
don't resist
Dean,
it. Evaluate it from the beginning. It's fair.
Okay.
It's required. It's
We're gonna
necessary.
set these hearings. Ms. Wildman, do you have a date where I can set these hearings, please? I need a 1:30 to 5
What
block.
I would respectfully request, it is very expensive for my client to have me prepare for yet another 3-hour hearing in Broward. May I respectfully request that this be by Zoom? Mr. Dean spends substantial time in Guatemala. He has
I'll
a
speak for
house
Mr. Dean.
homestead.
Objection.
I would request that for cost sake that this be by Zoom. The expense of printing copies of exhibits, traveling to and from, and this will be the third time Mr. Dean gets 3 hours in person. I would request that it be by Zoom.
We've only had one in-person hearing ever. That's a total lie. We've been in courtroom one time. Total. She's lying. Everything she says is untrue. We've been in the courtroom one time.
I object to Mr. Dean's
We've been
behavior.
in the courtroom one time. You are lying. We've been in the courtroom one time.
Mr. Dean, I have asked you now, I think 3 times, sir, to just please not interrupt Ms. Rodriguez and not do personal attacks against her.
It's not a personal attack. We were in the courtroom one time.
No, Mr. Dean, time out. You want this to move forward, sir, and yet you just don't. Let's address the real issue.
Don't want it to move forward. I was clear. I wanted to move backwards to the beginning.
With banter, back and forth banter. Okay, well, at this point, Ms. Rodriguez, I'm going to set it out, but I want to have enough time to review the transcripts that you're going to provide
From
me.
one hearing, but not the other hearings, correct? Not the other 80 hearings, just the one hearing. Is that correct?
I'm hearing 4. I can't repeat everything for you, Mr. Dean. You can listen to what I said, or you just choose.
Okay, so then you're just going to handpick one court hearing so you can get hand-fed the transcripts that you want to see. That's unreal. That is unbelievable.
Okay, so as I stated, Ms. Rodriguez, Mr. Dean has an opportunity. Both parties can upload to the court any transcripts or exhibits that they wish the court to consider for these motions. The parties will have 30 days to do that. Once the parties submit that, then we'll go ahead and schedule the hearing out. Let's see. Let me see what I have. June 25th from 1:30 to 4:30, or June 27th from 1:30 to 4:30.
Your Honor, I have to order a transcript to be typed, and you have to have an opportunity to read it. I don't know if that's going to give you enough time because I
didn't know you had the transcripts. Okay, I thought
one transcript.
She does have the transcripts, and if you don't, I will happily send them because I have them. I got them from Catherine. Not one thing she'll ever say is true.
I don't have a full transcript from when he was held in criminal contempt. I only have
from a biased judge who was recused. He was recused days later.
Let me ask Mr. Dean.
Amazing.
Okay.
I haven't seen Judge Avalos. I have not seen my children in over 2 years. Did I tell you that to begin? I did. I haven't seen my children in over 2 years. You expect me to be calm when it's nothing but attacks and biased judges? I'm fighting against judicial misconduct. You would be okay not having your children? Would you be okay and happy not having your children for 2 years because of false allegation after false allegation? I wouldn't be, and I'm not, and you wouldn't be either. Nobody would.
Ms. Wildman, can I have a date in July? Mid to late July, please.
No, you backed it up to July. Yeah, why don't you back it up another year? Amazing. So my kids are going to be adults before you settle this, and they're just going to speak for themselves. This is absurd. Now you want to wait 2 more months? I'm going to file an emergency motion. I'm going to refile that temporary relief emergency, and I expect you to rule on it, whether or not it's emergency, and it is, because I haven't seen my kids in over 2 years, and I expect you to see you within the next 14 days.
July 19th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Are you all available?
I'm available, Your Honor.
Mr. Dean, are you available?
I was available the June dates.
Okay, so July 19th,
I'm not available that day, Your Honor.
Perfect. So let's move it up to
Okay,
June.
Then it's going to be June 28th from 9 a.m.
You tried to help
to
them. It
12.
didn't work out. Perfect.
June 28th from 9 to 12.
Sorry you weren't able to delay that further.
Does that work? No, it's not further, sir. June is before July.
No, yeah, I'm sorry you weren't able to delay that further for them.
Mr. Dean, June 28th, does that work for you?
Yep.
Okay, June 28th from 9 to 12.
What are you hearing?
I already said what I was hearing.
Okay, well, I'm going to be my temporary relief. I've already let you know verbally that it's going to be filed an emergency motion. Be expecting that, and I expect you to rule that it is an emergency, and I expect you to hear it as such. Wait until the end of June. I haven't seen my children over 2 years. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to file that emergency motion. I'm going to see what you do. And after that, if you deny it, then of course the motion to disqualify is coming right behind it. So you're scheduling things that aren't going to happen. This is a dog and pony show.
All right, Mr. Dean. Well, you do what you need to do. File whatever it is you need to file. Sir.
I just told you what it was.
Okay. Well, again, I'm not considering anything unless I see it on the docket. And at this point, just in case you needed clarification, I'm scheduling the motion for psych eval, the motion to dismiss on the psych eval, the motion for Mr. Dean's motion for change of venue, Mr. Dean's December 29th motion for reconsideration of court order granting exclusive use and possession and restraining order. So that is what I am going to schedule. I was going to add the other one, the motion for contempt. And I can add it if we have time to do it. We can address it. If not, that'll just have to be reset with a group of other motions that we will hear.
Your Honor, may it be by Zoom, please?
It is by Zoom, and
oh no, I objected to Zoom. She likes to go back to old orders from biased judges, but let's go back to the last judge with another biased judge and another bad order. I objected to Zoom, and there's an order that says we're going to do everything in person. So unless you're going to go back and reconsider all orders, I will see you in person.
It did not say all by in person.
At this point, Ms. Rodriguez is asking for Zoom.
I objected to that 1 month ago.
Okay, you can object, Mr.
I already did, and it was ruled upon.
Okay, well, your objection for these motions that are coming up is overruled. So respectfully, we're going to have the motion via Zoom.
It was already ruled upon.
Perhaps for prior motions, not for this one.
No, for all motions moving forward, it was ruled upon in person. You can't change an order. You can't just change an order unless you're changing them all.
Hearings will be via Zoom. Mr. Dean, you can file whatever.
I'm also gonna file a notice for you to see that this was ruled on, that all hearings moving forward are gonna be in person, and you just now sua sponte decided it's not. But what you're telling me that you don't do sua sponte stuff, you just did something sua sponte.
Okay, Mr. Dean, you can file, like I said, anything that you want.
I know I can. I don't need your permission to file. I know that.
All right, so thank you all, and just for future reference, Mr. Dean, case management conference, they could be set by the court at any time. Additionally, you could also
you can't say anything with half a day notice.
Mr. Dean, you could reach out to the United Way of Broward County. They have the Mission United.
Oh boy, here we go. No, they don't take complex cases like this. There's nothing there's no resource you're going to tell me about that I haven't already thoroughly evaluated. What you're going to say is this is a bunch of malarkey. This is a bunch of malarkey. What I need is the same lifestyle that I've had in my marital. What I need is to not go bankrupt. What I need is a lawyer to represent me. What you're doing is denying me that opportunity.
For purposes of today, I am going to conclude this hearing. The hearing has been scheduled for June 28th from 1 a.m. to 12 a.m.
So you're holding me hostage as a pro se litigant. You're not hearing temporary relief first so I can get a lawyer. Instead, you're going to force me to represent myself pro se. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for nothing. Look for my motion to disqualify you shortly here this afternoon.
All right, Mr. Dean, you file whatever motions you deem appropriate.
Of course I will. Just do the right thing and recuse yourself. Bye-bye.